That's weird. Geno's here.
Geno, can we hear you? No.
Yay.
No, we can't hear him still. Worst case, you could go on your phone. All right. We're going to... I'm going to pull you. You come back. Okay. Now you guys know who's having technical difficulties. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. If you do not know, I'm Kat, the Nurse Flipper, and we do this podcast every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm joined by my co-host, Rod, Picking and Punching.
8:07 every Tuesday.
8:07 every Tuesday. We are here. We are always late. And I told Rod, I'm like, they're going to be like, do they have technical difficulties every week? The answer is most weeks.
If we're late every week, technically we're on time. So
yeah, that's true.
We're not, I mean, can't be late if we're always late.
If that's the normal, right?
That's the normal, right?
It is the normal for us to be late. So hopefully Geno can figure his sound out. He's been trying to figure it out. We have not figured it out yet. Hopefully we will. I see Geno come back. Geno! So for now, what I'm going to do is I'll make Miss Desiree from the Jewelry Resellers podcast big. She has been on before. So has Geno. So both of these guys you guys have seen before. And I got to hang out with Desiree some in Las Vegas when I was there a week.
Woo-hoo.
I do feel better, but I am definitely not 100%. I can still hear it in my voice. So hopefully I don't do good at resting. I was talking to Archie about that earlier. I'm not good at like resting to recover. And I started going back to the gym because it's been 6 weeks since my surgery. So I've already missed 6 weeks. So I don't want to miss more. So I did start going back to the gym. I even went with my trainer today, which I couldn't breathe. It was not fun. But yeah, so Desiree is going to introduce herself. She'll tell you guys where you can find her, all over socials, and if she's got something going on here shortly. And then hopefully Geno will be back with sound with us and we will get to your questions. So here is Miss Desiree.
Hello, reseller friends. Like Kat said, my name is Desiree. I know some of you may already know me. I host the Jewelry Resellers podcast, which is a podcast focused specifically for jewelry resellers. I've been doing that podcast for about a year. We just recently hit episode 100, so I am very passionate and proud of that. And I'm really excited to be here tonight. I can't wait to chat with all of you. And if there is anything I can do to help you in your reselling journey, I will do my best to do that. And if you would like to connect with me, that is at Jewelry Resellers Podcast on all of the socials. So thank you.
Yay. Come on, Geno. You can do it. All right. Miss Sandy wants to know if any of us, and I know Desiree's not going to know because she's in Vegas. So, Rod, Flea across Florida, what do you know? Where does it begin and where does it end?
So, the Flea across Florida, depending on what side of the state, and it goes pretty much from Pensacola all the way across to Jacksonville. If you go to the Facebook page, Flea across Florida, they actually have a map. You click on the map, and they literally have little flea icons on the map that have all like the different sales. What you want to look for is they do sales on Friday and Saturday, but when you look at the map, make sure you look at the time and the dates of those sales because they'll put all the dots on there. Some of them are only for Friday, some are just Saturday, some are Friday and Saturday. But it's usually a 2-day event. I normally go when I go do the Flea across Florida. I've done the Pensacola, I've done Tallahassee area, and I've done all the way up in like the middle of the state, worked my way up from Live Oak and cut across the state. So it just depends where you are and where to go. I can't tell you one place is better than the other because I've hit on all those places. It's just getting out there and hitting as many places as possible.
Did you notice like any place was more concentrated though with sales? Like are the cities obviously rather than in between them, right?
So when you do the Flea Cross Florida, I mean, using the map is really going to be, it's going to help you out tremendously because they have you'll see all the concentrated places on there. I'm going to pull up the map from last year right now. But they have where's that right here? I would say it varies because when you go on these highway sales, you will drive like 10, 15 miles and hit nothing. But then you'll come across like regular parking lots that have tent sales, which I have like 15, 20 vendors, which is like a little mini flea market step in like a parking lot. Some of those are going to be dealers. They're going to be curated items at higher prices. And then as you drive down, you'll go through cities and you'll hit like 15 sales, 10 sales here, one off here, one off there, and then you just keep driving. So it's hit or miss depending where you start. And I've gone 20, 30 minutes hitting no sales, and I hit an entire city full sales. You just got to follow the map. The best thing is get on the map and look at the concentrated areas, pick a starting location, and just explore from there.
Is it across like off of I-10? Is that the like route it follows?
Yeah, I-10 and then down to I think it's 90. Let me pull the map up here real fast. Let me go to Facebook to do that. Give me a second. So.
Well, this sounds like something I may need to investigate because
I bet there's some in like near Vegas that are like that. I feel like the Vegas people will have to let us know if there is something like that.
There's highway sales there's highway sales all across the country. I mean, you're better off just Googling highway sales and type in your state, and you'll be able to see that or the states surrounding you. All right, so
yeah, because I know the Kentucky, Ohio one I went to when we went up to the reseller rally. So there's Highway 90. Okay. All right, let's see.
Here. Yeah, it goes up Highway 90 too.
So there's a couple.
Yeah. Well, so it just depends where you go. Is
it this weekend?
No, it's April. Here we go. I got the map pulled up now.
Is it the same weekend as Nashville?
It's April 11th and 12th, I think, or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's not.
Let me see. Can I share if I can share my screen, I can actually, let me see if I can present it real fast. Hold on.
Yeah, you can share it.
Let me Flea across Florida. Which one is it? Nope, that's not it. That's not it either. Hold on, Facebook. All right, here we go. So this is one from last year, but this kind of gives you can zoom in. You can see all the little fleas on here. But that's Tallahassee area, but it goes all the way across the top of the state, up 10 and then up 90.
Oh, look, somebody's like down there.
Yeah, it goes all the way up here. So
that's like down towards me.
Yeah. So
look, there's some on the coast too.
Yeah, it goes all the way across the state. So let me zoom out a little bit here. So this is where I've started. I've started right here before. I've gone up this way. I've started in here, and I worked my way across before. I've gone all the way up here, up to 90. I've done Greenville. I've done over here. I've done all Tallahassee area. I've gone all the way across the Pensacola. I mean, there's a lot over this way. You can go. It goes all the way across the Pensacola. So it goes all the way across the entire state. So
it's like the top of the state, though.
Yeah, yeah. But look at their little icons. They're little fleas they use. Weird, like so. But that kind of gives you an understanding of the Flea across Florida there. And stop presenting. There you go.
I think I heard Geno say something.
Yay!
Oh, nice to show up, Geno. How are you, buddy?
I'm fashionably late. So what are we talking about?
We were talking about Flea across Florida.
Have you done it?
Yeah. No, but I know it's April 11th and 12th this year.
Yep. So they actually do the Flea across Florida twice. They do they do it in spring, and then they also do it in fall. And I think the other one, in fall is usually like September. So last time I did it, I did April, and I did Live Oak all the way up to Tallahassee. And then in the fall, I did Pensacola. I did it all across Pensacola area with a death pile picker.
Road trip, you better leave like now, Desiree.
It's a far drive.
That is a far drive. Yeah, Live Oak's only like an hour for me. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. All right. Valerie says she has an opportunity to look through some items left over from a friend's estate sale. Buying in lots and negotiating aren't my strong points. Do you have any words of wisdom for me?
Start with you, Desiree.
Oh, that's right.
You should
As it
switch if you
relates, as it relates to bulk buys, if I'm not that knowledgeable in it, I would definitely do a lot of research. I'm not one to just take big chances on a bulk buy because I don't want to be stuck with a lot of stuff that I can't move myself. It depends on what it is. I would definitely look and see if there are items in there that you actually are familiar with and you know that you can sell or you have some type of knowledge or information about it. But again, I think a lot of the bulk buying has to do with being very, very educated and informed about what it is that you're considering buying. I would not just say, oh, great, you have stuff left over, I'll take it. I would not do that.
Unless it's free.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, if it were free, yeah. But I don't know. Did she say she was going to oh, no, she said
No.
buying in lots. Okay.
You gotta buy it. Yeah.
Yes, she wanted to know how to negotiate. Well, that you're going to have to learn. You should go
Right.
to a lot of flea markets, a lot of garage sales, and try to negotiate everything you see. And eventually you'll get good at it. I was pretty bad at negotiating when I started, and now I'm pretty good at it. So you just got to learn through experience.
So
And
I
don't be
do.
afraid to get a no. You're going to get a lot of no's when you negotiate. Okay,
Yeah, so
sorry, Rob.
No, you're good. I do a lot of bulk buying and I do a lot of negotiation. If you guys ever watch any of my videos, usually when I go to, I use it like a garage sale. If I go to a garage sale and they don't have pricing on stuff, what I normally do, if I'm going to an estate sale, they don't have pricing on it. I find the items that I'm most interested in first, and I ask them individual pricing on each item. Hey, how much you have for this? Walk around. Hey, how much you have on this? That gives me a general idea how they're pricing their items and what they what they value and what they don't value, because you can see sometimes if people have a concentrated area of certain items that might be or I'll ask about the backstory to those items too. If someone tells me that they inherited this from a family member or it was left over when they moved there, they don't have any emotional connection. They just want to get it gone. But they tell me, hey, this is mine from my childhood, I grew up with this. Then there's going to be some type of emotional connection. It may be harder for me to get those items from people. So when I go through people's stuff, I pretty much just ask them certain questions. And then if I find 3 or 4 items that, that I possibly want, I say, hey, how much would you take for all of them? You know what I mean? Would you work a bundle deal if I buy multiple items? So I kind of warm up to people and just kind of get a feel of their pricing. My only concern for you is going through someone's estate sale from items that are left over. That sounds like all the cream of the crop has already been picked, and that you're getting what's left over there. So be careful. And also too, when someone tells you that, you have an opportunity to buy in bulk with stuff that's left over, that's not always the best deal. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean that you need to buy it. So don't buy just for the sake of buying it because you're getting a good deal on something. Only buy items in bulk if you already have a plan or an idea where you're going to sell those items and what you're going to sell them for. Because one of the biggest mistakes I made as a seller, and I'll tell you this, I used to go to buy out big collections and buy in bulk because it was a great deal. But then I got home and my crap, I don't want to list this, or this is going to be a lot of work, or where am I going to sell this item? So then it gets stuck in my death pile and just keeps building up and building up. So just be careful of that. But I just would say pick through what you want, the things that you want most, and then get some individual pricing and ask what they do a bulk deal if you just buy it all. So.
Yeah. So for me, I'm not great at negotiating. I'm great at buying lots, but I'm not that great at negotiating. The biggest thing, and I think Rod and Carrie talked about this in Vegas, I want them to give me a price first. I don't want to be the first one, because most of the time they're lower than what I'm thinking in my head. And I'm like that honest one that I'll be like, no, it's worth more than that if I feel like they really lowball me, because I don't really want to cheat somebody out of something. Like I just sold a sterling silver bowl for I think close, maybe 125, but that whole lot I got for 500 and my whole car was packed. And so I actually pulled that out and I said, hey, this is actual sterling. It's not plated, because I didn't want to feel like I was sneaking that past them. I think I would have felt guilty, because they thought they had pulled all the sterling and they had told me that. So I knew that. So they told me, though, they did not increase the price. They told me to leave it in there. And then I was okay taking it in the lot. But For me, I agree with Rod, but on a like private pick, I don't know. Like the one time I did it, it wasn't leftovers though. It was like I was the first one there. And I just made a pile and I assumed, which could have been dangerous, that me and her would come to a price, because the last thing you want to do is go through and spend an hour, 2 hours or more picking through and picking what you want. And then they want a lot more than you do. So Rod's advice about like, you know, show them a couple things and maybe you'll be lucky and the prices will be on it. So you'll see where they were at. And I would look at stuff that you know is always left. Like he's saying, most of the like really obvious stuff I think will be gone. Linens is one thing that hardly ever is gone and can be really valuable, and you can get it pretty cheap for like $1 a piece a lot of times. So yeah, Rod's better at negotiating. I'm not. I have somebody else negotiating.
Yeah. So when you have, I'm sure you guys all ran into this problem. You go to a garage sale and people are like, or in state sale, and people are like, oh, well, what do you want to offer me for it? You know, or I don't know, what do you want to give me for it? And then you had the awkward negotiation where you're like, I don't know, I can't offer a price. So my favorite line to say to people is, I can't be the buyer and seller. You have to give me a starting point. Like, or, you know, what are you looking for this item? And then we can go from there. See something that can work. Also, too, guys, don't be afraid to, if the price is too high, and don't be afraid to tell them that you're a resale and that you're buying this stuff to resell, because if you tell them that, you know, people work with me a lot more when I tell them I'm a resale when I'm not, because if someone's like, hey, this card right here is $100 card, and what would you want for it? And like, it's $100. I want $100 for it. I say, well, that's great if I was a collector, but I'm buying this to resell. So, you know, I still have to pay eBay fees. It's going to be 15, you know, I pay 15% eBay fees, stuff like that. So I would, if I'm going to buy this to resell, I would offer you $60 for it, you know, and that people may start understanding the process. So sometimes you have to explain to people the process, and that can really help out your negotiation. Or sometimes, you know, that's a good way to quickly know that if you should spend more time here or not. Like Kat said, like she made a big pile. She could have spent 2 hours there, and then at the very end be like, you couldn't work out a deal. So I've learned, because I've made that mistake multiple times. I've gone to people's houses, I picked through stuff, made a giant pile, and we couldn't come to their price, because that was my fault. I should have asked more questions leading up to them, just kind of see where their mindset was and stuff like that. So also too, don't be afraid to ask people questions. Is, you know, hey, if they need that stuff gone right away, or get some background, get general conversation with it. Because if you know, like, hey, I'm moving by the end of the month, today's the 25th, they need this stuff gone, you're going to probably get the stuff for a really good deal, you know? So ask kind of questions why they have an estate sale, stuff like that. Always
Two of my good friends are here in the chat. Josh and or Haley are here, and my good friend Tiffany Thrifting Vegas is in the house as well. Josh said offer $1, and Tiffany's right. It might be all going to donation if you don't take it, and that's going to change your negotiation tactics. I, though, have had people that were bringing it all for donation. I made a reasonable offer and they took it to donation because they wanted the tax write-off. I did not end up buying the stuff. So not always is that necessarily going to help, but I don't ask the lowest you would take, because I get annoyed when people ask me that, and I say, well, what's the highest you'd pay? Like you're gonna go, you know, but I would ask them like, well, what are you thinking, you know, for that, once you've kind of pulled out a few items for it. And if it can be good they're a friend, or it can be bad. If they're a friend that understands reselling, understands the fees, understands the time that goes into, you know, researching, photographing it, then they're going to be a lot more likely to give you a reasonable price. But if they don't, and they're expecting to get close to it, that's what you're going to kind of have to feel out and determine, I think, first.
One thing too, I've told people, and this has worked well for me, is when I ask them, hey, what would you want for all this stuff, and we're kind of going back and forth, and like, I don't know, what do you think? I said, well, I need a starting point, because I know if I'm either going to just make a decision to buy it all right now, or if I need to start doing more research, depending on what you're asking. And that's really helped me out, because if they give me a high price, I say, okay, let me do some more research, kind of go through, see if there's something I could go do when I start doing research. Say, hey, you know what? And then, or also too, pick if they give you a high price on items. One thing I do is I ask them to break it down. where do you see the most value in this lot? What do you value the most in here, and how much you value it? So they tell me I want $300 for this lot, and I think it's worth 200. I'll ask them, hey, how much? And they'll may point to something that they think is worth 100, 150 bucks. I'll say, okay, we'll pull that item out there. Let's make a deal for the rest of the stuff, because I may value that item at 20 or 30 bucks. So it just depends, because people have different perception on things, and they may not know the overall value. So don't be afraid to ask them how they came up with their number and what they value the most in that lot, because that can really help you break it down, determine what you want to take or what you want to maybe take out of that lot to make a deal.
Right.
Yeah.
I also want to add what you told me at the remix, when you said that you were willing to like let people think about it, and you were willing to make a trip back if you thought it was worth it, and that you were saying, oh, here's my number. You could text me if you want to think about my offer, or maybe when you get to the last day, maybe if you still have something left, we can work something out. So I thought that was a really good.
Yeah, if I can't come to deal with people, I'll tell them, and I don't give them my number. I say, let me get your number. So this way, let me text you my number so you have my number. Because every time someone giving you a business card or giving you a sticker, and by the time you walk away, you've already lost it. Like that happens all the time, right? So the best thing to do is when you are making negotiations with people, or like at people's sales, stuff like that, I will tell them and say, hey, let me get your number. And so that way I can send you a text message. So you have my number right now, and I can follow up you later on to see if you sold the items. If not, my offer still stands. I'm willing to come back and make a deal. Also, too, that gives me a direct line of communication for them to open up to, potentially buy other things, or if they have any contacts or any additional leads that may be sent my way.
All right, let's see. Trash Cat Rescue says, how do you all feel about a clear out on live selling and starting over? Just as an instance for me, I started wrong. I'm overwhelmed. So she's inventory rich and cash poor, which happens a lot. You have to be very careful of that.
I spoke about that in Vegas.
Yeah. I've done this at least twice in my reselling career. Maybe I've done it even more and I just don't remember, but I know I've done this. And, you live and you learn. I think it is worth it, because if you're not, excited about your inventory, or, you just have crap stuff, it's worth it to just go ahead and at least try and break even with that stuff and move it so you can buy better items. At least that's my thought process. So, and not being so attached. I think that's another thing, is like we get so emotionally attached to sometimes our inventory, or we get attached because, I spent so much money on this, or I was with my grandkids when I bought this, and they loved it, or whatever the case may be. But it really is about, I think, being more business minded and really seeing the potential of, or maybe the lack of potential of, what it is that you have and what you're trying to sell. So if that is a feasible solution, I love live selling. That's totally my jam. I would totally just move that stuff and get the money and buy buy better stuff.
I have 800 items here in my room, and it's a lot of stuff. And most of it's not going to sell. Well, I hope most of it does sell, and some of it doesn't. But the stuff, after about 6 months, 8 months, I just have a big garage sale, and I sell all the stuff I can't get rid of. And then I also go to a flea market and try to get rid of even more stuff. The stuff that's left, you could redonate it to Goodwill, and some other guy will be telling you how he's got all this stuff stuck on his shelves. That's what I do.
So it's funny you ask this question, because I actually spoke about this in Vegas at the Boss Reseller Mix. I said that there's a lot of times, because I do a lot of private picks, and one thing I will tell you is a lot of resellers I meet, they tell me that they're inventory rich, but they're cash flow poor, meaning that they have $50,000 of inventory listed in their eBay store, but if a $5,000 buy popped up, they couldn't be able to go make that purchase, or a $3,000 buy, or a $2,000 buy. They don't have the extra cash on hand to go make that buy, and they could make $10,000, $20,000 off that inventory right away. So I do think that it's a great idea to have a hybrid model where you are selling live to quickly move merchandise and list your higher end items online to maximize your potential profits on that. I would say in this instance, I am right with you. I'm about to do the same thing. I am literally about to start. I think next week I may start doing 3 to 4 lives a week and just start blowing stuff out, because in the last 3 weeks, I've been reached out to 5 separate times for private picks. I spent $12,500 my first private pick. I am about to spend probably on Thursday. I'm going to another private pick. I'll probably spend $2 or $3 grand there, and I'm about to go spend, depending on what else happens, I may spend anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 on another private pick. I need to keep the cash flow coming into my business to make these other picks, because I can't keep putting all that money out and not have that money come back in. So it's very important that I do have a cash flow, keep consistently coming through. And the fastest way to do it is live selling. So I saw a thing the other day where someone started out with $1,000, and they said that if they sold all their inventory off in 90 days at 50% profit, they would have X amount of money by the end of the year. Or they changed the business model where they started out with $1,000 in inventory, and they sold off by the end of every 30 days, they made a 20% profit on that margin. And they just re-up their inventory every 30 days. At the end of the year, the person that took the 20% profit margin by moving their merchandise every 30 days would be making more money over year 2, year 3, and year 4, because even though they're taking a smaller profit margin, they're turning it over faster. So they're taking the fast nickel over the slow dime. So overall, you can actually make more money if you quickly are, turning burning real fast at a smaller profit margin. Very similar to like what Walmart does. Walmart runs very narrow profit margins. Maybe
they're probably at like 5 or 10%.
8%, 12%. Someone that
crap.
Geno,
I'm muted.
I got you. Okay. Just Geno, when you leave, you got to turn off your camera. You also got to mute your mic there, buddy. Okay.
Now you're unmuted, Geno.
You're unmuted now, but I would say yes, it's a good model. I would highly recommend doing it, especially if you're overwhelmed. Start fresh. And I will say that you will pick 10 times differently going forward, because all the stuff you currently have now, you probably would never pick up again. And this way you have a quick way. Once you get overwhelmed, just quick moving things out. So I think it's a great idea. I would go for it.
Yeah,
One second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
This computer is now going dead because I don't have the charger in this room. So I have 2 computers, 2 microphones, 2 cams. I'm going to shut off. I got to straighten this out because it's just all a mess.
Okay, just come back. Just come back. We'll be here. I promise. Okay. As long as it's before 10.
It'll be way before.
Half, Geno.
Sorry, guys.
Geno.
I think that it is a good idea as well. Serenity saying chances are your current sales are your most recent purchases. That's not necessarily the case. With my high dollar, it's about 50-50 long tail and fast sales, because some of the stuff I buy, I have to wait for the right buyer. My question would be, is it all listed? Because if it's all listed, I'm going to think a little bit harder about dumping it on a live sale, just because of the time and effort I put into listing and photographing, and I have space. We actually, and I was going to talk about it at the end, I'll talk about it now. We started doing live selling again today. I actually think I'm going to have Shannon manage the live selling for me. And Shannon went live on Knickknacks today for 4 hours selling jewelry. We did very well. And I have a whole room that is my whatnot room full of inventory. Okay, yeah, if it's not close to being listed, move it out. My biggest tip would be have realistic expectations, which might be selling it for less than what you paid for it. You might have paid too much. Plus, you're saying it's probably not the most desirable. So I know a lot of people didn't know, but I was teaching Shannon, so I didn't really want to promote it today. I think we're going live on Whatnot tomorrow. Once I feel Shannon has a grasp of it, I will make a schedule and I will promote it. Right now, we're just kind of feeling it out and she's learning.
So, Kat, with that being said, if you were to if this was you and you were in this situation, you would not touch the stuff that you've currently listed. You would start with everything you have unlisted too. That's what you're saying. What would your expectation be for the items that are unlisted, maybe in your depot, less desirable items there? What would you want to get for those items? 40%?
Like we started at $2 today on stuff.
Yeah.
which is pretty close to what I paid. I would like to get my money back, and some of it didn't. So what we do is, if it doesn't, what's up, sunny Las Vegas? Look, we got all the Vegas people in the house. What I would,
She says she's okay with that,
back, but you might not get it back.
She says she's okay with breaking even or losing some money, have some peace with it.
And so you move some of it faster, you know? Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and the other thing that I do when I need to move a lot of crap quickly is you just lot that stuff up, because people love to buy bundles and they love to buy lots, right? As long as there's one good thing in there, I'm telling you, people will just, they love it, because they like the fact that they're getting more for their money, they're getting a variety, and they're also getting a good price, right? Because you're lotting up 10 things, moving that 10 things at a time instead of one piece individually, you know. So that has worked for me, lotting stuff up, because it moves quickly. People love to buy bundles. They love to buy lots.
Also, too, let me give a public service announcement for anyone that does lives, because I see this mistake happen on Whatnot. I see it happen on Dibbit. I see it happen on Knickknacks. I see it happen everywhere there's live selling on. People will list one item up, start at $1, and then sells for $1. They're paying a 35-cent processing fee on there. After they're getting 47 cents or 54 cents, whatever it is, from that item. You would do so much better if you took 2 or 3 items, start at $2, and just sold those, because you're not paying the processing fee for every single item that you're doing. So you're putting the bundles together. Your buyers are getting more value because they're getting 2 or 3 items for $2. You're still getting $1 a piece for those items, but you're only paying one processing fee. You're going to make more money over time doing that. So a lot of new sellers run into that issues. I always try to reach out to people when I see it. I'm like, start at $2, bundle multiple items together, and you will give your buyers more options there.
Yeah, and Sunny makes a good point too. You very well might know someone close by who might love to just buy it all. You know, maybe talk to your friends, talk to the people that you. Whoops, we.
Am I back?
I to click the same buttons at the same time.
Okay. Well, okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. All right.
I don't know what you were talking about. So
here, this is a question. No, you already answered it. We're still on the same one. You're good. You came back fast. You're good, Geno. You already answered. Okay. All right. Julie says she's doing her first Whatnot sale on Monday. Any advice? She currently sells on District. So what are the differences?
Okay. Well, for me, as much as I like Whatnot doesn't like me. So I probably am not going to be the best person to answer this one, because I love selling on District and I love selling on Poshmark Live. Those two platforms are where I find my sweet spot for my jewelry and just the type of shows I like to run. I truly wish Whatnot worked better for me, because I love the platform, but for some reason I just can't seem to make it work for me. So maybe everybody else will have some better advice, but I really don't have any.
I thought there was someone knocking on my door. Apparently my dog's at the door. His tail's just wagging, hitting the door. So yeah, I'm like, one was what? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gio.
I just got back. I got back just in time to say I'm going to pass this to Rod, because I don't sell on Whatnot.
I knew that. That's why I was going to jump in there. So based on what I just said there, that the one about your starting price on there. Also, too, there's no big difference from District. If you sell on District, or if you sell on Dibbit or Knickknacks or sell on Whatnot, the process is still going to be the same. You want to be entertaining. You want to make sure you pay attention to your chat. You just want to make sure that you do what's best for your customer. The difference between Whatnot and District, though, is I can run multiple shows in 1 week on District and ship out one time. If I do a show on Whatnot, I have to ship out within 48 hours. So even if I do a show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I have the same buyers that buy from every single auction, I have to ship those separate orders every single time, which sucks. On District, when I run my shows on Dibbit, I run multiple days. I ship out one day, and I can combine all those orders, so my buyers get progressive shipping. It saves me a lot of time, and it gives the buyers a better value. So I honestly prefer District and Dibbit and over Whatnot right now. And I've sold a ton more on Whatnot, to be honest with you, over the last 2 years. But District is better for my business currently at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm not sure as far as between the two, because we just went back after pretty much a 6+ month hiatus from live sales. So we just went back today, and we did go on District first on Knickknacks. The nice thing for me is that with District, I'm using Jocelyn's followers more than I'm necessarily using my own. So I felt that they might be more receptive to Shannon being the one doing the live selling versus it being me. So we're going to try Whatnot, and our plans are to alternate between the two. And if one comes out significantly on top, then we're going to drop the other one and concentrate on just either District or Whatnot. But if they both are holding even, we're going to do both. And Rod, I need to remind me, because we want to join Threads and start trying to do that, because I'm almost trying to make like a full-time live selling position for Shannon is what I'm going for here right now.
I wish you would have told me sooner. I would have got you on the raid train. We're doing a raid train next Thursday from like 9 a.m. to like midnight. But I can get you. Yeah, I'll get you on there.
Yeah, so. Let me know. So I find, as far as the actual selling platforms, that Whatnot is easier to navigate. But that might be because I've used Whatnot so much more. I have sold thousands and thousands of items on Whatnot, so I'm used to it. And District, I've sold, hundreds of items compared to thousands of items. So I feel like you should be able to navigate Whatnot more. I feel like viewers are going to be harder to get on Whatnot than they are on District, which is one of the reasons we prefer District. But other than that, it's live selling, the concept's pretty much the same. It's just a little bit of difference with navigating the platforms. This is a trick question. Silverhair Stacker wants to know who's the hardest working reseller on YouTube.
Well, if you're talking about how to get set up for a YouTube channel, it's me. I got everything in this room. Speakers, ring lights, everything. And I still couldn't get on. And I'm not using my cam. I'm using the camera from the computer. So I'm the hardest working guy right now.
Desiree, you have any suggestions?
Well, as it relates to what reselling YouTube, because those are two distinctly separate, different beasts, right? Reselling is its own thing. YouTube is its own thing. And then when you try to kind of do the two together, as we all know, it's like literally 2 full-time jobs. So I don't know. I think you kind of have to make the decision as it relates to how you're going to manage being a reseller and being a content creator. I happen to love both, but if I had to choose one, I probably would choose content creation over reselling, just because it works with who I am, my personality, my experience, and all of that. But as it relates to the hardest working reseller on YouTube, I don't know. I think we all work hard in different ways, in different formats, because none of it's really technically easy. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I tell people that I spend about 30 hours a week editing one video, and I put it out on Saturday. So that's a lot of hard work. I'm not saying I'm the hardest working person, but if you want to do YouTube, be prepared. You're going to spend a lot of hours in front of the computer, or in my case, in front of 2 computers and 2 microphones and 2 cams. And
still it won't work.
I can't pick one, but I will tell you there's a lot of people out there, and I would say, the Commonwealth Picker does his Flipper channel. He has a picking channel. He has Grosso Nation. He is owner of Didbit. He's owner of Commons. He's part owner of Didbit Threads, Didbit Cards. So he has a lot of stuff there. He picks a lot. He does eBay, does a lot of things. Believe it or not, ADH Dave is an extremely hard worker. He has several YouTube channels. He has
It's
ADH
like
Dave.
6 of them.
He has his picking channel, his flipping channel. He has Wondering with Dave, which does theme parks. He has Eating with Dave. He has his cooking channel, which has 138,000 followers. Not to mention, he was reselling on eBay. He just quit eBay. He did nothing but live selling. So yeah, I mean, he's extremely hard worker. I would say Tim, over the years, I've literally have gone picking with Tim, and I have seen him come back from picking and literally sit at a kitchen table and take photos and stuff like that while we're on the road and work for 3-4 hours of listing while we're at a highway sale, only to get up and do it all over again the next day. Kat's extremely hard worker. There's many times me and Kat have conversations at 1 o'clock in the morning because she's editing videos. Not so much now. Earlier though, when you started going to bed a little bit earlier.
When I started going to the gym, I started going to bed on time.
There's times me and Kat will be up 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm sending her a message. She'll be up editing her videos and stuff like that. I mean, I throw myself in there, me and Kat do this show. I have a podcast called No Bigger Sports Call Podcast. I have my picking, punching cards, flipping and punching. I have picking and punching. I usually put about 5 videos a week on those channels. Not to mention I sell on eBay, Macari, Poshmark. I'm part owner of Divot Cards, Divot Threads, and I do live selling on Whatnot and on there. So I do a lot. I mean, there's no one hardest worker. Harry Tornado, he's doing nothing but Whatnot there for a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Bearded Thrift Machine, hard worker. He's doing multiple, him and his wife. Like the fact that you can quit your job or have your wife quit your job and guys go full time, you have to be a hard worker. So everyone that you see has a lot of subs on YouTube. Everyone that you see that doing these live pop-up stuff, they're all hard workers. I just can't pick one, but that's some of the ones that just come to my mind right now.
Yeah, I can't pick one. I agree with everything Rod said. And it's funny, like, I feel like Kevin and I are very similar. I don't have as many channels and as many like irons in the fire different ways, but I do a lot. And Kevin, I'm like sitting at like the camp listing party sending offers, and Kevin's like, Kat. I'm like, well, like, so I've kind of chilled out a little bit. I try to take the weekends off now. And I don't know that I necessarily want to be the hardest working reseller on YouTube anymore. I want to take a break and then try and have a balance, which I am horrible about. I'm a workaholic. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a workaholic. And I'm trying not to be. But I think the majority of people who have YouTube channels that are putting out regular videos and are selling are busting their butt, and you don't realize it. They really are 2 full-time jobs. I had to get employees. Otherwise, I was going to have to pull back either on YouTube or on eBay. Single mom. Luckily, my older daughter's here helping me. But you throw kids into the mix with this without a spouse to help. It's a lot. Yeah. Sonny wants to be the starkest worker. Like the whole work smarter, not harder. Like me, instead of me doing a live selling, having Shannon come and start to help. Rest is important. Having fun, family time is important. And it's super hard to find that balance. It really, really is, because we all want to do more. We all want to get better. I think it's like natural to want to make more money, but you have to draw a line at some point. I would
also say, Kat, and I think you agree with me, this is doing this show where we have like-minded resellers that come on here that have big YouTube channels, are selling on multiple platforms, or putting in all this time, traveling across the country, doing picks. It makes you it motivates you to want to do better, and it motivates you to want to be on their levels. And not saying that we can't be on anyone else's level, so that we got to do what's best for yourself. But I would say, like, you get to see the cream of the crop to come on the show. And I will say, I am amazed at how many great resellers out there. I could literally list 30 other people on that list, and it's great. I mean, that's why we're here every Tuesday night doing this.
Yeah. And again, you gotta find that balance between it, and find what works for you. Yeah, work smarter, not harder. That's always the case.
Well, do you guys notice notice too that sometimes a lot of the stuff will overlap, right? Like a lot of YouTube stuff will overlap into the reselling, especially if you're a reselling YouTuber. But even so, just as a content creator, as a business owner, a lot of times the stuff will kind of all blend together, and it's really hard to compartmentalize everything, because it's all kind of just one big thing and everything kind of feeds into the other. And so that was something that I learned early on, is like, you know what, there's no separation between this. It's all kind of
all together. Like,
yeah, exactly.
If I'm not reselling, I probably don't have my YouTube. I mean, I could still do thrifting. And I think a big thing too, and one of the things that irks me the most is people telling me they don't have time.
Yes, me too.
Don't tell me you don't have time, because you have no idea what I do. You have time for what you make time for. That's what's important. So you have to decide what you're willing to make time for. And if it's something you're saying you don't have time for, then you're not willing to make the time. Because we all have the same amount of time in the day, and you can look and see how much some of us are doing compared to others. And we have the same 24 hours in a day. We might have different lives, but you'll make time for what you want to have time for. Well, regardless of what it is.
Kat, it's funny you said that, because when people ask me for help and I try to get them, I always ask questions about their business and what they're doing. Like, oh, I don't understand how you have time to do all these YouTube channels, how you have time to sell on these platforms, do this. I'm like, okay, well, what do you do from 6 to 9? They're like, I'm usually sitting home watching Netflix and then, doing this. And then I'm like, there you go. You know what I mean? There's time in the day. There's so much time that we waste that you don't even know. If I will give you guys a piece of advice for 1 week, take a journal or use your phone and write down what you do throughout the day and hours throughout the day. And you won't believe how much time you actually waste and how much more free time you actually have. Because I did that one time and I was blown away by how much time I waste on stupid stuff.
Man, I'm being lazy. Yeah. I say that all the time. Yeah. I'm like, y'all have no idea. I'm really not like, I could, but I don't. But that's the nice thing. All right, let me give Todd the whale, and then Mike Metco sent us a super chat as well. Rod's probably editing a video or listing stuff right now. I mean, we also, I bet you money, all of us, everybody he just mentioned, multitask very, or at least semi well. I highly doubt we are ever doing just one thing.
So I'll give you guys a little tip. I literally cross list about 15 or 20 items throughout Tuesday night when I'm sitting there in between questions and stuff. I just click a button, I'm cross listing items over or sending out offers.
And I'm bidding on an auction right now too. So yeah. All right. Where'd Mike go? Where are you, Mike? Oh, there's Mike. Mike said hi to his Vegas peeps. Wants to know how are Desiree and Geno. He's taking a head count. Is anyone in the chat? Are they doing a prison to profit meetup?
No, Did I miss it? It's Plains to Profits in the
Plains to Profit in Nebraska.
Yeah,
Plains to Profit in Nebraska. So anybody in the chat? I am. Yeah. Monica, I've been divorced and single since August last year. Almost a year. Well, it's coming up. I feel like it's almost a year. Yeah, for a while now. So who's going to Plains to Profit in Nebraska? I wish it wasn't so freaking expensive to go to Nebraska. I looked up tickets. It is expensive to fly from Florida to Nebraska. It is not cheap. Yeah, it was super expensive. Like 2 to 3 times what it was to go to Vegas for me.
Really?
That's crazy. When I look. Yeah. But I was looking really soon because I was looking when it was the College World Series. But that might have been why too. But all right. So is anybody on the panel going to Nebraska this weekend?
No, but Mike wanted to know how me and Desiree were doing. And I'm not doing too well tonight, Mike. And tomorrow is my birthday, so that's even worse than everything. But yes, in general, I'm doing fine. Thank you, Mike.
I am not going. I literally have been traveling every single week for like the past like 4 or 5 weeks. I'm done traveling right now.
He's taking a break.
I'm taking a break.
All right. What should we give Mike?
Give him Kevin.
Give him Kevin. All right. Oh, thank you. Oh, man. Oh, no, never mind. I'm not saying anything. I'm keeping it a surprise. I'm not saying anything. All right. Here's Kevin. Desiree you hadn't seen it, had you?
No, and the pineapple at the end was a little surprising.
You wish you. Unfortunately, you can't unsee that now, can you, Desiree?
I may have dreams about it.
Nightmares, you mean? All right.
All right. Squirrely Reseller says she wants to sell live on District and Dibdit. How can she be successful without followers? Most platforms start at $1. Is live selling, max sold, or a garage sale going to be best to move merchandise?
Well, we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but I think that if you are starting like from scratch, from zero, I would definitely hop on. My order of platforms would be District, especially if you sell jewelry, because I know the jewelry communities there, the ladies who run those, they actually go out of their way to bring people into your shows. So if you don't have followers, you actually have somebody navigating that for you and helping you get people into your shows. My second choice would be Poshmark Live, because if you've got some kind of a following on there, it's way easier to get people into your shows on Poshmark Live than it is on Whatnot. That's been my experience time and time again. So you don't really have to have a huge following. I think you just have to be strategic. And then you also have to be very proactive, by promoting yourself. And the top ways I've seen work, and my own experience as well, is to promote on social media. Instagram really is the best platform to promote your live shows, either through stories, reels, posts, whatever you do. And then also going in the like Whatnot groups on the Facebook, the Whatnot groups on Facebook. There's tons of them. Whatnots for moms, Whatnot for jewelry, Whatnot trains. Like there's so many groups on Facebook. And while you may not necessarily get a lot of buyers, you will build up your followers by participating in those groups. I promise you will. And they're free.
This is a Rod question.
Yeah, I would say if you're just starting out live selling, I agree with Desiree that District is going to be your best bet, because the good thing about District is, like, if you're going to be selling in Dibbit or a Knickknacks, you already have the creators built-in following there. And I will say, watching shows firsthand on Dibbit, I've seen brand new sellers go live with 10 to 15 people showing up to their shows right off the bat. And you only need 2 people to bid. That's all you technically ever need for a show. So don't get discouraged if you have 7 people in there, if you have 30 people in there. It just takes 2 people to bid. I've seen shows go for crazy money with less than 10 people in there. So always keep that in mind when you're starting out. But I would say Dibbit would be a good fit for you to start out there. Mm-hmm. I would say, remember, I don't call it a live selling app. I call it a social media app, because the stuff that you see that's entertaining in other live shows, people go there to see you or be entertained by you. So, you want to make sure you're paying attention to people. You want to make sure that, that you make sure you don't have dead air, and make sure that you're not walking away from the camera. Like, things that discourage people are going to move away. So I would go, honestly, my personal opinion is, if I was going to sell on any platform, I would literally spend 1 week going on there morning, noon, and night, watching all the other shows people are selling, write down what I like and what I don't like they're doing, and then incorporate for my shows and kind of see how they're doing things, and just go that way. I mean, live selling, I will be completely honest with you, is a lot of trial and error, and it's going to take you a good month or 2 to get a good feel to it until you get your flow going.
Yeah, so I think that depending on what kind it is, make sure you're on the right District platform. Like, what is specifically for Dibdit, Rod?
So you have Dibbit Threads, which is going to be mostly, it's going to be all like clothing, real similar to like Poshmark Live. You're going to have Dibbit Cards, which is going to be sports cards, non-sports cards, Pokemon. And Dibbit's going to be a lot of pop culture items, but they do allow you to pretty much sell anything during the lives. So, but I mean, just remember, you have a lot of people in there, a lot of collectors in there. I when I do mine, I do everything comic books, from clothing, pop culture items. I've ran knickknacks. I've ran everything during my lives. You know, it just depends on your audience. Some stuff sells well. Some stuff sells good. Some stuff I break even on. But the last thing I would tell people is I work off the rule of averages for my show. And people get so discouraged if an item sells for below market value. So put this, if I spend $100 and I have 50 items, right? I have $2 invested in each item. If one of those items, you know, I lose money on certain items, or if I break even items, I don't care. At the end of my show, of those items, if I have $400 in sales, I know that I spent $100, I'm making $300 profit minus fees. I can care less what my items sell for. I want my buyers to get good deals. Don't be discouraged if your item sells below market value, or you break even on it, or no one wants it, because you work off the rule of averages when you do live selling.
Yeah, and I mean, like today, Shannon went live. It was her first time going live. It was under my name, but I feel like on District, just like Rod said, we're using whoever owns that platform. We're using their followers on District, and I think that's a big benefit. I don't think you have to have the followers. You can use whoever's platform that is. And like today, we were on Knickknacks. Shannon ran for about 4 hours and did over, I just looked at it, she did over $600 in sales, and I couldn't even stay. I had to go to the gym to work out, and I gave her like a 10-minute tutorial on how to do it, and I'm like, bye, you can call me if you need me. She did not ever call me. She figured it out. She fumbled through. People were very understanding with her, and we didn't advertise it at all. I did not broadcast it to any of my social media channels because, like I said earlier, we're trying to let her get used to it. And we're trying to get her more comfortable before I do that. So we didn't use my following. I went live. It wasn't scheduled. It was totally random. And a lot of people, like Marsha, didn't see it. A lot of people that regularly watch me and buy from me didn't get notified. So we really did not use it. And we had only an average of about 20 people in there, and we still sold $600. And that was $2 starts, you know? So, I mean, of stuff that's been sitting in my friggin' room for a year. And we're going to do that till that room's gone. And then if it's going well, I'm going to start buying just for that. And I think it's it's a good way to move that inventory fast. B, it can be another stream of income. Like Desiree, her talk at Boss was on multiple streams of revenue. eBay's at $24 for me today. I want 500. So what if I hadn't done that live sale? I would have been $475 short. Instead, I'm over because we did a live sale. So I think like Max sold a garage sale. You're going to have to put it out. You're going to have to price it. I mean, all of it's going to be work with a lot of inventory to move it. You know, you're going to have to ship it. But you can use their following on District to move the stuff. And I would lot it up. You don't have to start at $1 like Rod was saying. Like I started at $2. Last time I started at $3. Lot up $2 or $3 items, started at $3. That way you're not getting as many fees. But yeah, I like live selling, and I'm hoping we can get where we're back doing it more.
Yeah, and don't forget that you also have the marketplace, so you can list your items there as well.
Yeah.
And you can allow people to pre-bid, or you can allow them to just buy it right then and there. So you can get your items into the marketplace even before you do your first live show, right? So people can see the kind of stuff that you're selling and the kind of stuff that you will be auctioning off, whatever. So you have a lot of options when you're just getting started.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's give, what am I going to do? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So
I
many
was also going to
choices.
say too, if anyone here wants to sell clothing on Threads, reach out to me. I will go live with you to help you start off with, to make sure you're doing things right, because I know a lot of people are worried about they're going to mess up or they don't know what they're doing. I'm willing to go live with you to your first show to help you out. So feel free to send me a message on District on Dibbit Threads.
And people are super helpful on there too. If there are
Yeah.
other sellers in there and you're stuck, they're gonna help you. They're absolutely amazing. All right, this is Geno's first one he made for me. Dun, dun,
Yes,
dun,
it
dun.
was.
That one's so cute. I like the little dolphins.
Something went right tonight for me. Okay, good.
I got more. Wolfman's Goodies sent 10 and said, I love to entertain and sell items on eBay. Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing with live selling. And the good thing for Shannon, so for a while, Shannon was who was doing my hair and makeup. Now Brooke's doing it. But Shannon always has her hair and makeup done. So when we do linens, when we do clothes, you're going to see her where I did not show myself. You'll be able to see her. So she'll like that interaction, where me, I'm like, oh, I want to get dressed for this. I like to be in my jammies as much as possible. All right, here. Oh, I already did the whale, didn't I? Dun, da, da, da. What are we doing? Okay, let's do Dalton. Here you go. Dun, 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 dun.
That's a cute one.
I like that one too. All right, let's see what we got. Wendy wants to know how we're all doing with our New Year's resolutions as far as changes you wanted to implement in your business this year or things you wanted to quit doing.
Well, for me, my goal was or my New Year's resolution is to really switch to my main source of income being completely digital income. I talked about this at the Reseller Remix, that my goal is to basically create all digital income streams, and then I do the jewelry reselling for fun. Like, I don't want I have to rely on that income. So I'm slowly phasing out reselling, and I'm slowly kicking up other ways of making money that do not involve inventory, that do not involve me having to go out and do a lot of stuff. So that's me. I know that's not the majority of resellers, but my goal is to make reselling, to bump it down actually back to hobby status, instead of making it the thing that I rely on to keep the lights on.
I didn't make a New Year's resolution, but I had the best eBay year that I've ever had. So I did really, really well. And I'm retired, so I don't want to do much more better. So if I could make the same amount of money I made last year, this year, I'd be thrilled. It's all according to where you are in life, what position you're in. And I'm retired, so I'm very content right now. Thank God, except for the microphones and stuff.
So I was on Operation CSO this year, which is clear stuff out. I'll keep it PG-13. And I got rid of one storage unit. I've cleared out my spare room in my house. I've cleared out most of my office. You guys used to see a bunch of stuff behind me. So I got a lot of that cleared out. And now I am working on clearing out my garage, and I'm going to clear out my next storage unit. So my other goal was to buy storage units. Might be a little bit too ambitious because I have to get rid of a bunch of stuff before I can plan on doing that. But I will say that might be something I do towards the end of the year if I can clear out all this merchandise. But I am going to transition to more of a hybrid model. I do a lot more live selling. That was my goal. And I'm going to really ramp up starting in April on that. So I can't wait.
Yeah, and we just started with the live selling. I've gotten hit this year. I had my gallbladder surgery. Then we went to Vegas. Then I got the flu. Like, it seems like every time I turn around, something else is happening. But live selling was one of ours. We have been doing the wholesale lots on Commons. I haven't went thrifting a ton, but every time I've went, we have made lots for Commons, which was one of my goals. Mine is like that. kind of like Desiree's, where I want more streams of income, but mine isn't necessarily digital. And the nice thing, like I said, with Shannon, like having her do lives, sales have been down where I couldn't really have her coming to work. But now if she's doing live selling, she's creating her own income. So it works for both of us. I'm making more, plus she gets, you know, the hours that she's wanting. So we are going in the right direction. Hopefully I can stay not sick and not in the hospital. That's like step ones for me. But sales goals wise, we're not meeting where I want to be. So hopefully that'll go up. Hopefully the live selling will, you know, kind of pair with the eBay to get us where we want to be. All right. Mindy says, I had 2 instances where a buyer sent me an offer and I accepted. They told me that they accidentally ordered and request I canceled the order. Does that give me a ding on eBay?
No, not that I know of. As long as you know, you cancel it if that's what they requested it. But I think they have to. Don't they have to do something? Isn't there like a certain way they have to? The buyer has to do it. Buyer requested, like when you cancel.
Yeah, you have to put buyer requested, and then you don't get a ding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put buyer requested, but first I tell them to do it and make sure that eBay dings them and not me. But I just put buyer requested, and I haven't had any trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that situation, buyer did request because you have the actual documentation that the message, so you'll be fine. Just put buyer request, and you won't get a ding.
Perfect. All right. I wanted to put this up here because I kind of wanted to get everybody's input. It's not a question. It was a statement, but it caught my eye. And Elizabeth said she's been learning to not list everything on one single platform, instead put it on the best possible platform. So I wanted to know, like, what are your thoughts on if you do cross post? Do you just put certain items to certain platforms, or do you feel like you're better off? And answer this in the chat too. Do you feel like you're better off putting most or all of your items on all of the platforms, or do you think this is a better strategy?
I don't know, because I don't really have a specific strategy for this. Because the majority of reselling I do is live selling, and so you don't really cross post for that particular way of doing it. But when I'm not cross posting, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer this, because I don't really have a way of deciding when I'm going to cross post and when I don't. Sometimes it really boils down to, do I have time to put this somewhere else? Then I do. And then sometimes I don't. And so I don't. So maybe that's not very helpful. I'm sure everybody else will have a better answer than me.
I list everything on eBay because I think you get the biggest audience on eBay, and say like 90%, and then 10% I'll put on Facebook Marketplace, and it's usually for bigger items that I have. And that's what I do. I don't think you really have to list on every single place out there, but people do.
So it depends on if you're manually listing or if you're using a program to list it. If you're using a program to list it, it's a simple click of a button, and those items can be, listed on multiple platforms. So for me, I list everything to eBay first. I use Vendu, and I cross-list it to Whatnot Static Marketplace. I cross-list it to Mercari, and I cross-list it to Poshmark. I usually list it on eBay, and then like a day or two later, then I'll cross-list all my items over there. So for me, I don't see any harm in doing that if it doesn't take up a lot of time. If you are manually cross-listing all those items, yeah, I would not be cross-listing all those items on multiple platforms, because the time that you are spending to manually do that is not going to be. There's a lot more better use of your time that you could potentially do. I would look into getting like List Perfectly, Vendu, or any other the cross-listing software that if you're in if you want to start cross-listing over, and because time is money, I would rather spend X amount of dollars to do it and save so much more time so I can focus on other parts of my business. I would say, one thing in here, your very last statement says, I stopped making bad buys to sell those items on Whatnot. And be very careful. You don't want to just sell your crappy or your death pile items on Whatnot, or items don't sell. I will say when I do my best shows is when I bring good items on those live selling platforms. So just keep that in mind as well. So you just don't want to bring just your items that aren't selling. You can mix those in, but just, you also want to bring good items so you keep consistently building your audience and bringing additional buyers to your shows.
Yeah. So for me, because I'm using a cross-posting service, I think it's better to list it on your main platforms. All of them go out. For me, they all go to eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, unless, and Patty was just talking about this in the chat. So there's going to be a few exceptions. So Poshmark over £5, they heavily penalize you for shipping. So anything that's over £5 does not go to Poshmark. I think Mercari has like maybe a $2,000 limit. I had something that was over it that I couldn't list on Mercari. And then I sparingly list to Etsy. Etsy is the only one I sparingly list to. And my sales video coming out tomorrow actually has quite a few Etsy sales. So Etsy sales have been picking up for us. But I think if you're using a cross-posting service and it's Poshmark, Mercari, they're free to list on. So why would you not? It takes me 30 seconds to put them on those extra platforms per item. And I think it's worth it to do that. All right. Mark you're not very late. You were a minute earlier than you're normally late. And Mark always gets Rod's. We have three super chats back to back here. So here is Rod for Mark.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
I wanted to do it so bad. I was trying to make a poll in the chat and it won't let me from my phone. So Todd wants to know who's cuter, Geno or Desiree. So you guys have to put it in the chat now. You have to vote for Geno or Desiree.
Okay. I vote for Desiree.
I vote for Geno.
I think there's a lot of women in the chat. I think Geno might win this one.
Last time Geno was on, he was a ladies' man, and we had lined up like 3 or 4 dates. Yeah, we lined up 3 or 4 dates. I think he ended up getting engaged 6 months later, and then it just kind of fell off. We're not going to bring it up, Geno. I know that was a sore subject. I'm sorry, but it's what happens in the reselling land stays in reselling land, right?
That's true. I got 3 dates.
All right.
Wait, you actually got some dates? What?
Geno has fans. He has some ladies in there. Watch. We'll see in the chat. All right. Here's the dolphin while everybody's voting. Look what I see. I'm telling you, there's ladies. I see Geno.
As it should be. But I mean, if Geno is getting dates, then maybe this is what I need to do. Maybe we need to do like a reseller.
We keep talking about a reseller's dating app.
Yeah, reseller, dating, reseller singles kind of thing.
Patty says they're separate classes, so they can both be the cutest.
Yeah.
Geno does like to date the moms. Somebody said Geno knew their mom in here last time.
Yeah, somebody was trying to set me up with their mom. I forget who it was.
He is cute. Adorable, Y'all are going to make his head like this big by the time we're done.
Geno's adorable. I mean, I'm not surprised. The ladies are beating down his door.
There we go. Thank you, Desiree. That's why hold on, I show you.
I'm scared.
This is an expensive cam. I'm using the computer one. I had this one. I could get it close up. But
he wanted to show you.
I can't use it now because the other computer died and the microphone stinks. This has been a fun night. It really has. And you didn't wish me happy birthday, Desiree. It's tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday. I would sing, but I don't want Kat to get, demonetized or something.
For happy birthday.
If ever has me back, I'll use my camcorder that gets me close up. It's really good. That's what I film my videos with.
Sherry sent $4.90. I'll play my Gator one. I don't ever play it. All right, here's my Gator one. Geno's
Every time I say that,
birthday
it
is
scares me.
tomorrow.
Yes,
go
it's
ahead.
tomorrow. I'll be 71 years old. I never thought I'd ever say that.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy early birthday, Geno.
Thank you.
Hopefully. I keep trying to get him to meet with me and he won't. I invited him on the boat Sunday. I invited him to the restaurant and he keeps turning me down. He won't go on a date with me. I tried.
No, I would. Well, you were. If I went on that thing, I would have drowned. That boat that pulled. What was it that they were
Tube?
pulling?
Yeah, we went tubing. We pulled the tube behind the boat on the lake. We wouldn't have made you go on the tube. You could
would have
just
tied
chill
me
on the
to it.
boat. Lay back, and that's what I was doing, lounging in the back of the boat. I didn't get on the tube either. I think I'm going to go on it this Sunday, though.
And
I
now
promised all
I'd never go on the tube now because I messed up your live. Now you'll definitely drown.
You're swinging the camera around. Geno, we're going Sunday again if you want to go, by the way.
I will go with you Sunday. I was at where?
That's
Oh,
recorded.
It was a 50 house community sale. I couldn't leave that day. And then where you were, you said you were at Ski
Lake
Beach.
Harris.
And
We went to Gator Bay.
Yeah, that's far
All
from
you
me.
can eat
The
catfish.
beach is close.
Well, we took the boat. We'll pick you up close and then we take the boat.
Okay, I'll go.
You
This
can
week.
drive across water faster than land. You just
I
go
might have a
straight where
couple
you're
of
going.
dates, though, so
Well, you can find a date. We have room for a date if somebody wants to come with Geno on the boat Sunday. Elizabeth, that one I just did. Okay. Patty wants to know if anyone has ever had an X-rated question about a listing. How did you respond? Asking for a friend.
Okay, my answer is yeah, like not an X-rated question, like multiple. I've had several. One asking me, can I model some shoes? Another one, can I try on a woman's brassiere?
oh wow.
So yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
I
mean,
won't ask you again.
so, but yes, I have had, and it's weird because they don't know what I look like. They don't know if I'm a woman, a man, right? So, but yes, I have had.
Right. Like they have no clue.
Yeah, they don't know what I look like. They don't know that I'm a female or whatever. But I sold shoes, and I was asked if I could model those. And then a woman's bra, I was asked, oh, can you or someone try it on so I can see how the cups work?
No, the biggest. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I wonder how many people actually fall for that and actually send photos. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know.
No, I haven't had any X-rated requests. I've had dates, but that's only on this show.
X-rated dates?
Well, they turn into that.
Well, with that being said,
Well, then.
Wow, I didn't know it was going to get that spicy tonight.
So I will tell you this. I used to work in professional wrestling, and I work with a lot of females that are better looking, and I would say they get a lot of attention from their fans. And I can't tell you how many times people want to buy their used wrestling gear and they want them to not wash it. I can't tell you how many times people want to buy used shoes. They want them to be sweat and not be washed. Same thing on eBay. I've had multiple people ask weird questions on there about shoes, especially feet. There's a lot of feet fetishes out there. Bras I've seen underwear where people want to model in underwear. I personally know people that have gotten messages asking if they could wear the underwear and send them to them after they buy them. I have had that before and not wash them. So yeah, there's a lot of sick people out there that have sick fetishes, and you will get weird questions like that on eBay. Listen, I'm not judging. Do what you want to do, but just be prepared that there are things out there that will happen. So
Yes. I've had a few, same as Desiree, like try it on, show it, blah, blah, blah. But she's right. Like they don't know, like, if you're male or female or big or small. Like And some have been on Posh where it's been a female, and I think it was like a legit question because a lot of people do model the clothes on Poshmark. That is more common. And I'm like, I cannot fit in that like size 6. Sorry. Like, no, I cannot. Like, I would break it if I tried to model it for them. So yeah, that's the main thing is the trying on, I think, that I've gotten. And as far as responding, that's typically mine. Sorry, that's not my size. That's what I say. Like, I'm just like, sorry, not my size, and I leave it at that. Flying Frog wants to know, how do you figure out postage before you sell something?
For me, I weigh it.
I don't. I charge $10.95 if it's over a pound up to $3, and then $11 and $12 as we go up. And I usually make a couple bucks on every sale, and anything under $7, $8 according to how many ounces.
So
And
a lot
of
of selling platforms use calculated shipping. So all you would have to do is weigh your item before you list it, put in the weight and the dimensions of the item, and then eBay or the other platforms will calculate based on your zip code and their zip code. So for me, I just use calculated shipping on eBay. I just got to put in the proper weight, and I just don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and I do exactly what Rod does. I do calculate it and let eBay figure it out.
yeah, I get to keep the extra, so I like that.
Timeless Rose Vintage says, I have a couple pieces of jewelry that have come up 10K after tested twice, but they are not marked. So is there a way to know if they're gold filled or gold plated, and how do I list them with them being unmarked?
I've had that too. And like, I don't like to say something is 10K, 14K, whatever, if I don't know for sure, because I don't want to get an INAD for that. So what I probably would do is probably I would put the weight like in grams of what it is. And then I probably would put gold filled or gold plated. But that's a tricky one because I've never done that. I've never not put something, or I've never listed something without knowing for sure 100%, right? So,
well,
that's my take on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do a lot of testing. I mean, you can't see this on camera, but my finger turned yellow from using the acid the other day doing 10 carat and 12 carat. What I found out, and I've been doing it for years because I used to buy storage rooms. So I'd find a lot of earrings that were gold. I found a whole bunch of stuff. So every year I would end up with about 4 or 5 ounces worth of gold. So I was doing a lot of testing. And if it's not marked, it's either plated or it's not gold, and it's not gold. I mean, I don't think maybe twice I found something that actually turned out gold that wasn't marked.
Mm-hmm.
If it's gold, people mark it. Trust me.
I agree. And I think that's important too, because you don't want to take a chance.
I will pass this to Kat.
If I thought it would be valuable, like some really old stuff is gold and not marked. And when I say really old, I mean like your antique items. Those are gold and not marked. I would bring it to the jeweler. My jeweler will tell me without charging me, luckily, because they want to buy it a lot of times. So they'll tell you. So if it's something I think could be valuable, I would bring it to my jeweler. Like we actually brought 2 pieces last week and they were gold plated, that I felt like they felt like gold to me. They tested, and they told me they were gold plated. And again, they didn't charge. Like we bring it in, we show it to them. Pawn shop would probably do the same thing. Because if you were taking it in there to sell it, they're going to tell you that's not solid gold, that's plated. So that's what I would do. And I have to show you guys, because I just told you I had done $24 for the day. I just accepted a sale on a train whistle for $250 that has only been listed for 3 days that
Nice.
I did not pay very much for. So now we're headed in the right direction. All right. So Frank has a jewelry question as well. And he says, I'm seeing some of my best vintage jewelry brands like Trifari and Weiss sliding in value in 2025 as far as best offers and outright sales. So are there any trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, I know Trifari has gotten really quite saturated over the last couple years. I've noticed. I still love it. I will still pick it up and I still list it. But when it comes to trends, I actually did a podcast episode on this. And what I just learned within the last couple of weeks is that people are asking for 90s jewelry, which is really odd because, you know, the 80s jewelry was really trendy, but people are asking for 90s jewelry. So I don't know if that's really like kind of art deco, but you know, like the geometric kind of shapes, the neon colors. That's what I got people asking about, like the neon. And that's 90s, right? Yeah, that's like early 90s,
Yeah,
the neon.
like the neon pink and green and
Yes.
yellow.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what people are asking for. That's what people are looking for. So I don't know if a celebrity recently had something or an influencer talked about it. But the other trend I have noticed in jewelry, and I talked about this the other day, is like it's about wearing it all, right? So it's taking like the maximalist style up a notch, and ladies are wearing like 10, 20 bracelets, 50 necklaces, kind of like Mr. T,
That's
kind
heavy.
of. So that's the trend, and you can even find that on TikTok. Hashtag wear it all jewelry, and that's what the ladies are doing. They're wearing rings on every finger. So if you're asking about trends as it relates to style, that's what I would say. But if you're asking about trends as it relates to vintage brands, I still think there is a very loyal and dedicated following for your Trifari, your Monet, and all of those types of pieces. So I would still pick them up, even though maybe they're not as in demand, but they always tend to be in demand somewhere at some point to someone.
I go to a lot of thrift stores, and you're not going to find valuable jewelry there because they're looking through every inch of it. So I'm not a big person to ask for this costume jewelry. Gold and silver, I can answer, but not for costume jewelry.
Pass the cat.
Yeah,
Like,
so for me, like I do see it falling in like the research videos that I'm doing. Alfred Philippe Trifari pieces are still just as high, if not higher, than they've ever been. So I think like Trifari like it depends on the piece because with Trifari, a
Agree.
lot of it was mass produced and it's not valuable, and people don't realize they're like $3 to $5 pieces, and then there are $3,000 to $5,000 pieces, both by Trifari. So it really depends on the piece. I have not been buying a ton of jewelry. I actually am bidding on a bunch tonight. That's what happens when I start live selling jewelry again. I want to start looking at jewelry again. I really go like in and out. But I have mainly been doing like Native American, Zuni, and Navajo pieces, which are higher end anyways. Most of my Trifaris go to live sales at $2 and $3 starts because the majority of them are worth less than 15 or 20, and I'd rather just move them fast. And I don't find a ton of Weiss. But I did notice a lot of the Shriners that like I researched 2 years ago that were thousands. Those are definitely down in value as well. But again, some of the like Trifari, Alfred Philippe, the Jelly Belly pieces are higher than I've ever seen them. So I think it really just depends on the actual pieces. I feel like some of them are, you know, going down, but a lot of them are going up too. And I think that's supply and demand. Like more people are like, oh, a Trifari piece, and they're going to list it because it's, you know, it's named, where not all Trifari pieces, the majority of Trifari pieces, I don't feel like are worth listing on eBay. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I agree.
Yeah,
And I
I
think,
think everybody sees it like in the high dollar research videos, and they don't realize that that's like a few select, very rare pieces, not, you know, your everyday Trifaris that were sold at, you know, at the department stores in mass quantity. Those are not. I've seen a few that I'm like, how, like, why did they sell for that? But the majority of them are not.
yeah, and like you said, because the individual pieces are so different, sometimes one piece will be worth $10 in one colorway, and then in a different colorway, that same piece can be $50, $100, depending.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of a different color bead can
Yeah.
really make or break the price of a Trifari piece.
Yeah, for sure. Sweet Escape Soap wants to know, what do you think will be the biggest trend this year in your niche? Like, so what? Well, I think you just covered that though with like the 90s stuff, or do you feel like there's other trends that might be upcoming?
Well, the other trend that I talked about too earlier this year is what I have noticed, and what I have noticed my buyers asking me for are bulk to consumer lots, right? It's not just resellers who want to buy in bulk. You have everyday, people wanting to buy bulk pieces of jewelry. Now they may not want 100 pieces, but they are looking to get maybe 6, 10, 20 pieces, depending on what it is. And so I've noticed that that seems to be the trend as it relates to jewelry. Sometimes they want curated sets. So a lot of jewelry buyers are looking to get more for their dollar as it relates to that. And they want the simplified aspect of being able to buy an entire, collection of bracelets as opposed to just one-off pieces. Now, of course, you can still sell one-offs, but like I said, the trend that I have seen, and I have had multiple buyers ask me, is the bulk to consumer type of sale. So if you can make smaller lots, maybe not 100 or 50, but like I said, maybe 6 to 10 pieces, I think that that's going to be good.
The biggest trend I've seen this year is brass. I've been having such good luck selling it. I've been making a lot of money. Now, if this wasn't broken, I would show you all the brass I have up there. I went to a garage sale last Saturday, and the girl said, my mother's boyfriend died, and we just want to get rid of this crap. I said, okay. I ended up buying, I don't know, a big giant box of brass for $17, and I've been selling it like crazy. But even before that, brass has been good all year. So I'd say brass is still trending when people have always bought brass, but it's trending.
I do a lot of stuff in the pop culture field. So I would say one thing that I would recommend you guys look out for going forward is Marvel has always been the biggest, I guess, the 800-pound gorilla in the room compared to like Batman, Superman, a lot of stuff. But James Gunn has taken over the DC universe. If you guys don't know, he's the guy who did the movies for Guardians of the Galaxy, and he is going to start a new DC universe this summer with his first movie is going to be Superman. So even though the last Superman movies haven't been the best, I can see a big trend with DC IPs going forward. So be on the lookout for that, and also Fantastic Four stuff down the line, because Fantastic Four is one of the biggest Marvel movies. One of the biggest Marvel IPs out there, and they're finally going to be dropping a movie with them this upcoming is it next summer or this summer, next summer. But being on the lookout for that stuff. Pink Panther's coming down the line. I follow a lot of movie. I follow TMZ. I follow a lot of movie pop culture news. So be on the lookout for stuff like that, because they are coming down the line. So I look the next, like, what movies come out in 2025, 2026. Who they're signing as a really good process to do, especially if you like pop culture items, because when you go garage selling, flea markets, you can pick up items in advance before they might have a spike in the market because of the new movies. And you will see a spike when they announce that they're going to be coming out of a movie. You're going to see a spike when they sign the director. You're going to see a spike when they sign actors to movies, and you're going to see a spike when they have a trailer. And you want to sell that stuff, try to sell it before the movie comes out, because if the movies fail, then you're going to see a dip in the market. But the most hype for anything, just like when you go on vacation, you get super hyped to go on vacation. And sometimes the hype is better than your actual vacation because you've been looking forward to it for months. Same thing with a lot of movies and a lot of things out there. So keep that in mind.
I am horrible with any trends. That is all I will say. I have no clue what's going on in the world around me. And yeah, I just don't. So I'm not good at this. I just buy and research and don't pay attention. I try to read. I need to try and read. And people have, like, some of the at Boss, like, recommended, like, following influencers, but then that just leads to scrolling. I have to scroll to watch the influencers, which I don't really have time to do much scrolling, So yeah, I'm oblivious. I'm not very good at trends.
I bought a yodeling pickle. So I don't know if that's going to be a trend, but it could be. So look out for these yodeling pickles.
Geno,
It could catch on. You never know.
First he's selling grass, then he's showing stuff that looks like other stuff.
Okay, I can't shut it off. Okay. Look for these. Look for these.
All right, I want one.
That sounds like a weird pickup line. Come see my yodeling pickle.
Come see my yodeling
pickle.
I didn't think of that.
Oh, no.
Ladies. Oh, stop it. I didn't do it that time.
Geno can't shut his pickle up.
You smothered that.
I can't breathe. Okay.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I have an accountable banana that someone sent me.
There you go.
I'm like,
accountability.
Well, Rod, if your banana's not yodeling, I don't want it.
It's not yodeling.
All I got is
it's kind of crooked. So
look at all these trends.
Oh man.
Oh gosh, I don't have anything to show.
The yodeling pickle should definitely get him some date. I agree.
And I only bought it for $1.
$1 too much, but all right. Oh, you coming a mile away, buddy.
Oh my gosh. Marsha quit. She's done. Cat After Dark. You missed. I erased the 10 to midnight show from New Year's Eve. That one it happened, but it didn't happen. Fish Dream says, question on eBay Mobile. When you click on orders, there used to be a leave feedback. Now it says send coupon. So where does anybody know where she finds to leave feedback on the app?
No, I always do feedback on my laptop, so I don't know.
I do too, but there's got to be a way to do it. I just don't know. I do everything on my computer. So
yeah, I don't know, unfortunately. Sorry.
I have automatic feedback, and I would recommend anybody set that up because you cannot leave negative feedback for a buyer. So you might as well, when they pay, they've fulfilled their obligation, just have it automatically leave it, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Plus, it saves you
have
time.
To wait until next New Year's Eve for Cat After Dark. I will not start drinking it too again, though.
I do automatic when they leave me, not just when they purchase. When they leave
me, I do when they pay.
I do when they pay too.
Yeah, because I don't want them like me giving feedback and then I don't get it.
See, I don't care.
Oh, yeah, I don't care either.
I do.
Here, have it. All right. Le Vintage Teacups says, how does it work when Poshmark wants the seller to put things on sale and they pay the shipping? Does Poshmark offer that option weekly?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Wants the seller to put things on sale and they pay the shipping?
I think they do special sometimes. Like
they do.
Give them $2 off the shipping, but Poshmark's the one paying for it, not the seller.
Yeah, they do that in live shows too. Like the first person to, win an auction will get free shipping, and that's a Poshmark thing. It's not a seller thing. And sometimes Poshmark will run coupons and stuff like that, but it's all done through Poshmark, and the seller doesn't have any. At least the ones I've known of, and the ones that I've done, it was all through Poshmark. It wasn't something that I was able to, set up or toggle on and off. As it relates to how often they do that, I don't know. I know when they were doing a big push for live shows, those free shipping coupons were coming out every week. I don't know if they still are. And I know the specials they run for live shows are different from the regular just shopping a Poshmark closet. So I don't know if that has something to do with whether or not they offer it or what.
I don't know, Poshmark.
I'm going to pass this one to Kat.
Yeah, the only time I've really seen it, I don't put anything on sale on Posh, is like my higher dollar items, Posh will give them free shipping. Like if it's over $500, they'll give the buyer free shipping, and that's not out of my pocket. So I really do not know.
Yeah, they used to have a thing where if you would schedule a live show, the first person to buy in your show would get free shipping.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I don't know.
I tried
if they
Posh
still
Live
have
twice, and I was not impressed, and never did.
it. I love it.
tried. All right, question for Rod. Assign Michael Vick football that's shrink wrap. Where should she go to get it? I think she means verified or authenticated.
Yeah, so you want to get it authenticated. So what you want to look for is a company called like JSA. They will make sure that it's real, authenticate, give you a certificate. Can't speak. Give you a piece of paper with the certification with it, so you get it. I would say go to contact like your local sports card shops in the area. Ask if they do any type of like JSA authentication at the facility, because sometimes they can take the item and they'll send it off for you. Or if you look in the area for sports card show and contact them to see if they advertise like JSA there. For example, like in St. Pete, Florida, over the weekend I went to a sports card show and JSA was set up. You could literally bring your items to them and they will authenticate them on the spot for you. And you have to pay a certain fee to do that. But that's pretty much going to be the best bet to go. See if you can do it locally before sending it off.
All right. Thrifted Spirit. This wasn't a question. I wanted to put it up so we could all kind of comment on it. And those of you in the chat too said, I'm trying to decide if an iPad at $300 is worth it to be able to sell on District.
For me, I'm very leery of electronics buying or selling, but that's me. So I may not be the best person to to chime in.
What model is it? I don't know if it's going to be worth it till I see what, it has to have a model number.
Do you think buying an iPad that will work for live selling is worth it if you were going to live sell and you had to have it to do it?
Why not? I wouldn't want one, but why not?
So for those who don't know, if you sell on District, to be able to get all the features and to be able to co-stream with people, you have to have an Apple device, either an iPhone or an iPad. So I would, if it's something that you are seriously thinking about doing, yeah. So you can sell with an Android, but you can't co-stream, you can't do all the features on there. So having an Apple device is going to be the best for you because you can co-stream and do everything else. I would say if you are serious about it, and this is something that you do want to do going forward, I would highly recommend that get a device like that. Now, with that being said, I would say you can also pick up an old iPhone. You can go pick up anything else that you could potentially use to do your show. You just have to connect to Wi-Fi. You don't have to have all the features such as have it hooked up to a carrier or anything like that. If you do buy a used iPhone, just make sure that is unlocked so that you have the passcode to get into it and stuff like that. But all you have to do is connect to connect to Wi-Fi to be able to do it. You can always go through like Best Buy and one of the other places that do have a return policy. You may have to pay a restocking fee. But that's something also you can try doing if you don't like it. But I would say to be successful, you have to be prepared for success. And if that's something you are taking it serious for part of your business, one, it's a tax write-off. Two, it's a tool that helps you make money. So it will pay for itself 10 times over going forward. I have sold $50,000+ Kat sold hundreds of thousands of dollars on whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, so if this is the device that you want to use on District, yes, I would highly recommend investing in your business and investing in yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah too. I'm gonna put up get a used iPhone for $100. Mark saying find a better deal on an iPad. Another thing too, if you don't have that much to put out but you want a nice one, I used to when my kids were younger, QVC does debit card payments with no interest. Sometimes it's a little higher. You can do like 6 installments with no interest and you don't have to have credit for that, just to throw another option out there. I think that's actually how I bought Brooke's iPad about 3 years ago, because they had a really good deal on a bundle with a bunch of accessories for her. And it was like $50 or $60 a month for, I think, like 5 or 6 months. So I also, we buy used iPhones that are locked, because I don't care if I can use it on a carrier. I'm using it on Wi-Fi. So those phones are typically cheaper. And you could probably find an iPad that's locked, I bet, to some service. But as long as it's not iCloud locked and you can get into it, you could still use it to sell on district on Wi-Fi. Yeah, Kevin's saying, yeah, if it doesn't make it worth it, then you can resell it for sure. Sell the box too. That's in my video tomorrow. I'll give a spoiler. Like all of our phone boxes go immediately up on eBay when we get new phones around here. Because I mean, we're not keeping the box.
Do you peel off the serial number sticker? Because I got a bunch of boxes of stuff we bought.
I don't.
And I was scared like somebody would would do something with the serial number.
I've never had any issue with it.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's see. Avril says, I'm late to the party, so may have missed this, but I have so many designer clothes with tags and shoes to sell. Every time I put a couple things on eBay, I get scam or spam messages. Is this common?
Not really for me. I get more scam messages on Poshmark, surprisingly, but not as many on eBay. But I mean, you don't have to respond. You can, block them, or I think you can report the message as well. That's what I would do. So that way you don't, ignore it and then eBay sees you have an unanswered message. I would report that message, if it really is something bad or scammy or whatever.
I get very little scams anymore. So once a year, twice a year, and you can usually tell that it's a scam. But maybe is she new? That's probably why she's getting so many. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're still in the chat, let me know what your feedback is on eBay, because your feedback plays into that a lot, because scammers will target people that have 100 or less on there because they're newer sellers, and they try to target newer sellers because they assuming that they're just going to be confused and maybe not know, and they're easier to scam. I've seen that a lot. I don't really get that many. I mean, my feedback's like 6,000 or 7,000 on there, so I don't get those messages anymore. But I will say a lot of times people do get the message because they're newer to eBay or low feedback.
Yeah, and I think that it's probably because you're newer as well. And once you're up over 20, that kind of diminishes and goes away. Just ignore them. You can report it to eBay, but it will go away as your feedback builds up. I don't really have an input on this. Remember the whole not knowing trends and not knowing what's going on in the world outside of me. That's like me, period. So if anybody on the panel or you guys in the chat, but don't make it political. Do not turn it into political. Just give your thoughts on if the post office becomes privatized. What would you say? What would you do if the post office becomes privatized?
Well, you want me, Desiree? You can go.
Likes to skip her. I
didn't
putting him in the corner next time.
I heard this on the news. That's why
He's like, I have something to say.
Yeah.
I'll just pass the mic over to Geno, because I really don't have anything to contribut.
I heard on the news, without putting no politics involved, that the post office loses money every single year, billions and billions of dollars. So they're not thinking about privatizing, like half privatizing it to try to save some money. Now that's what I heard. So,
I mean, UPS and FedEx are privatized. I mean, they're for profit. They're businesses. I mean, we use those to ship out items. So I don't think it's as bad as people think. I know a lot of if I'm not mistaken, a lot of it with the Postal Service has come with like the retirement plans and other stuff they had put in place many, many years ago is a big reason why they're losing money now. So I think it's going to be more of a restructure. And I think that I don't know enough about to have a big discussion on it, but I will say I'm not concerned about it because it's going to be business as usual, because anytime that something changes, you have other options out there, FedEx and UPS. Even though FedEx and UPS do stuff with the Postal Service, I think we just have to let it play out and see what happens. I mean, at this point, we're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. Nothing that we could potentially do. with if it does change, because how else are we going to ship items? So we just have to go with the flow and how things are going.
Yeah. And I mean, I use UPS and FedEx sometimes. I would go with whatever's cheaper. If it went privatized and FedEx and UPS are cheaper, I'm going to switch to them. If, USPS remains the cheapest, I'm going to go with them. Kevin's telling you if that happens, you need to buy stock. But we are not financial advisors.
But buy stock.
Okay, last question for the night. You get a gut feeling about something, it's good, but can't find confirmation. How much time do you spend researching that item if you have a gut feeling that it is worth something?
I'll research right there on the spot, with no hesitation. I probably would research just long enough to where I felt like, yeah, this is a good buy. So whether that be a minute, whether that be 5 minutes, whatever. But I have no problem researching on the spot. And if it makes sense, then I'll buy it for sure.
Well, if you can't find it on like eBay, call up Kat. She has Worth Point. So she'll tell you what it goes for. No, what I'll do is I'll list it on an auction at a decent price, what similar ones are going for, and see where it goes. Sometimes you're really pleasantly surprised. And either way, even if you're not surprised, at least you'll know what it's worth. And that's what I do.
I will spend as much time as needed depending on what I feel that item could be potentially worth. If I think that item's only worth 20 or 30 bucks, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with research. I'm just going to throw it up there do research. And if I think that item could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, I'm going to I will spend additional time for that, because time is money. And if it could generate me a lot more money to spend more research on it, it'd be well worth my time. And if I can't find items, so I'm going to be able to search for the item. If I can't find that item, I'm going to search for similar looking items. I'm going to search for similar categories for that item could potentially be in. Search Worth Point, search TerraPeak, look eBay, Google image search, put in Facebook groups. I would contact other resellers. I would use all my resources that I have in front of me. And honestly, that whole process I just said, I can do within 20 minutes most of the time, at most, because I know where to go, where to look, who to contact, and who to reach out. And then I would sit back and just see what happens from there.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I probably do 20 to 30 minutes if I got a gut feeling that it was worth a lot. Which isn't going to be overly often. I had somebody message me, like, when stuff sells fast, you're like, wait, like that train whistle. But I researched that. I looked it up on WorthPoint. I know I was right. I had it at 300. I accepted 250. I had $25 in sales today. You can always price it high, and continue researching when you have spare time. Sometimes if you price it high, people will tell you exactly why it should not be priced high. I have a vintage Morse code telegraph on there that I listed high, and one person has wrote me and told me why I shouldn't have it that high, and somebody else said it needs parts. I don't care. I'm going to let it sit there at that high price because I saw one similar that we're selling. No, I technically don't know, but once I've had it longer, I'll, entertain lower offers. But I price it where I'm happy. And if somebody knows more than I do and they make more money, then good for them. Their knowledge is paying off. As long as I'm happy with the profit I'm making, then I am okay.
Once again, it comes down to what we buy the item for. It comes down to, you make your money to buy, not to sell. So even if you underprice the item, if you bought it cheap enough, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to sell to the end user. You could sell to another reseller who's going to flip it, make money, make a profit, move on.
Right. If you make a quick $50, like, it is what it is, that, you don't have that knowledge. Somebody else has it. Let them make money too. It's okay. All right. That is the end of our questions. We did not get through all of them tonight. So make sure you guys get through them and get them up early. And now, listen, so real quick, I don't mind somebody that's professional that knows more than me when they message me. I don't get nasty about it. Then they've given me information that I can go research, verify, and I will change my listings. I will listen to somebody that knows more than I do. I'm okay with that. You don't have to always get defensive because you don't know everything. And most likely you probably knew you didn't know that, you know? So I appreciate them. I'll thank them. But if I know something and they're telling me something, that's a different story. But yeah, so I am going to let Miss Desiree and Mr. Geno tell you guys again where you can find them. Their links to their channels are in the description if you're watching us on playback. And then Rod and myself will also tell you. So here is Desiree.
Well, thank you so much, Kat, for having me on this evening. I really enjoyed it. And you can connect with me at Jewelry Resellers Podcast on all of the social platforms.
Perfect. Here's Geno.
I'm Geno from Geno's Finds, and I do ride-alongs. That's what my videos are about. You come with me, and maybe you'll find a yodeling pickle. You never know what you're going to find. And I'll tell you, oh, and if you want, I think that's in last week's video. So if you want to see more about a yodeling pickle, there you go. Where else could you find that? Okay, so come to my channel, watch a few videos, and if you like it, subscribe. And if you don't like it, unsubscribe from someone else's videos. I don't have that many subscribers.
Perfect. Rod,
way to sell that channel there, Geno. Yeah, so I haven't put out a lot of videos this past week. I have my dad's in town visiting, but I will have a new pick and punch video tomorrow. Next week, I will say this. On Threads, we are doing a raid train on April 3rd. It's a Thursday from 9 a.m. to like midnight. So if you guys want to check it out and see what type of things I'm selling, if you are interested in selling, that's a great day to go over there and check it out. And then we're doing a grand opening on Debit Cards next Wednesday, April 2nd. We're doing a massive raid train for a grand opening. So come check those things out.
All right. I need to get back into my thrifting videos. I think I have like 6 or 7 to edit. I just have not had the time, and I've been sick, and I had no voice for over a week, so I couldn't do voiceovers. So I hopefully will have a thrifting video out for you guys. As I said earlier, we are starting to do live selling again. Shannon messaged me. She's not coming tomorrow because she's going to get tattooed. She's worse than me. She's covered almost head to toe. So she'll be at the tattoo shop. She might come tomorrow afternoon, but we definitely will be live Thursday on Whatnot, possibly on Knickknacks as well. And I'm going to get with Rod and Kevin about getting on Threads because we do get a ton of clothing. Yes, Tiffany. So Tiffany, we did go thrifting with Tiffany, Thrifting Vegas in Vegas. So I do have 2 videos. Oh, and Tiffany, my 3rd box came. I want to say thank you again. So I bought way too much stuff. If you know me, that's what I do. Tiffany got a whole cart full of clothes into 3 12x12 boxes and mailed them back to me. So special thank you to Thrifting Vegas for shipping my purchases back. But yes, so we will have videos from Las Vegas coming up. Oh, here's my sleeve for Jake. And yeah, so we'll be live on Knickknacks and Whatnot probably Thursday and one or the other on Friday. And I have a video of what sold coming out tomorrow as well. And it's a lot of Etsy sales, which I haven't done a video on in a while. So that one's a little bit different. Next week, who do we have? Who do we have? Let me see. Oh, Marsha and Brad, our Black Sheep Society, will be our guests next week. They're both right there, actually, right above Tiffany, the last 2 to say something. They will be on with us next week. So come and join us next week. And we're here every Tuesday from 8 to 10 Eastern. We will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.